Hey everybody, I'm back and I'm just filling in for somebody and I'm going to do Proverbs 9. I wrote down a short summary of it. It's talking about wisdom versus foolishness. So I'm just going to read my summary real quick and then I'll let you know what I got out of it. So it says, wisdom and foolishness are portrayed in this chapter as rival young women, each preparing a feast and inviting people to it. But wisdom is a responsible woman of character, while foolishness is a prostitute serving stolen food. So basically, through this picture, what it does is it explains that wisdom first appeals to our minds, because wisdom is in our minds, but foolishness first appears to our senses, whether it's looking at something or smelling something or hearing something, and the senses are what excites us the most, because that's what you see something, you're like, ooh, and that excites you more. Versus wisdom, it doesn't excite you as much. It's all just in your head. But the foolishness is temporary. Those senses are temporary. You only smell something for a certain amount of time. You don't hear something for the rest of your life. You can't see one thing for the rest of your life. They're all temporary. They all go away. But the wisdom that we get from something lasts forever. And that's what it's trying to show us through this, is that even though the foolishness may make us excited or appeal to our senses, the wisdom is what's going to last. The wisdom is what we need to have in our lives, and that's what God wants us to have, is that wisdom inside of us that will last. So the last thing that I want to talk about is verse 10, and I'm just going to read that to you. It says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." So it says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. We need to listen to God when He gives insight to us. He did create life, so He knows how life is intended to be lived. So we need to fear Him and acknowledge Him and His understanding, like the verse says. And knowing Him and acknowledging Him. So to know God is more than just to know facts about Him, but it's to have a personal relationship with Him and to live in awe of Him. And like it says, is to fear Him enough to be obedient to Him and try to gain that wisdom that He has so that we can be more like Him and be wise. So if you really want to be wise, my advice to you would be to get to know God better, because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And once we know God more, the more that we will fear God, but also the more that we will trust God. So be wise, everybody. Don't be foolish. Even if your senses cause that foolishness to start to kick in, don't let it. Know that that's just a temporary thing, and if you do something dumb, you'll regret it later. And instead, let that wisdom take over and trust that instead, and get closer to God through that. So thank you. That's all I have, and have a good day.